Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. When we talk about the Steelers starting off 2025 with a bang, we're not just talking about a narrow victory or some fluke win. No, this was a statement game. A high-octane, back-and-forth shootout that had fans on the edge of their seats from the first whistle to the final second. The Steelers managed to edge out the New York Jets, 34-32, in what was truly an offensive duel that showcased the team's offensive firepower, but also raised some eyebrows on the defensive side. You see, with such an intense game, it's impossible not to focus on the performances of some of the key players, especially those involved in bringing this victory home. Let's start with the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Now, many wondered after his move to the Steelers if he still had that magic, that spark that made him one of the greatest to ever play the game. And what do you know? Rodgers proved he's still got it. 4 touchdowns in his debut with the Steelers, folks. That's right, 4 touchdown passes. You can't ask for a better start than that. His chemistry on the field was evident, especially with the receivers, and it's clear that Rodgers isn't just here to be a placeholder or a bridge. He's here to make a real difference. That kind of performance sets the tone, not just for this game but for the entire season. It signals to the league and to every opponent that the Steelers are serious about contending, that they mean business, and that they're ready to go all in to make another Super Bowl run. But of course, it's not just about Rodgers. The Steelers' offense had some bright spots beyond him, particularly in the receiving core. Now, there was plenty of talk during the offseason about the depth behind DK Metcalf, the star wide receiver who's been making waves in Pittsburgh after signing a hefty deal worth $30 million annually. DK looked good in this game, as expected, but what really caught the attention was how Calvin Austin III and Ben Skowronek stepped up and caught touchdown passes. That's encouraging, right? Because if the Steelers can get reliable production from those guys, it eases some of the pressure off Metcalf and gives the offense more versatility. Still, many fans are asking, can this be sustainable? Is this the start of a deep, explosive receiving unit that can rack up yards and touchdowns all season long? The truth is, the Steelers are clearly aware of the importance of bolstering their wide receiver group. And here's where the rumors start to heat up. There's talk about the team possibly going all in once again and making a bold move to bring in a top-tier receiver to strengthen their options. And who might that be? Well, according to recent reports from Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, there's a lot of buzz around the possibility of the Steelers making a trade for a big-name wide receiver, specifically Tyreek Hill from the Miami Dolphins. Now, this gets really interesting because Hill is one of the most electrifying talents in the NFL. He's one of those players who can change a game in an instant, especially with his blazing speed, which makes him a nightmare for defenses. Flaunting that speed, Hill has the ability to take the top off a defense, stretching the field and creating huge mismatches. On paper, having a receiver like Hill opposite Metcalf would be a game-changer. Think about it, a duo of such explosive talents would make the Steelers' offense virtually unstoppable. Florio's insight suggests that the Steelers are considering going even more all-in this season, especially after their strong start. They've already made some significant moves, like trading for cornerback Jalen Ramsey from the Dolphins, acquiring Metcalf from the Seahawks, and signing Rodgers to a 1-year deal. Those are big steps, and bringing in Hill could be the next logical move for a team that's clearly committed to competing at the highest level. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The potential trade for Hill isn't just about his incredible skill set, there are a lot of questions surrounding him. For starters, Hill's off-field issues have been well documented. This isn't just about on-field performance anymore. NFL teams are increasingly scrutinizing players' character and background. Hill has had his share of controversies, from his comments about being done with the Dolphins last season, only to backtrack, to investigations into battery allegations involving his then 3-year-old son, and more recent incidents, including an altercation with police and domestic disputes. These issues have raised concerns about whether the Steelers would be willing to take that risk. Let's be real for a moment. The Steelers have a long, proud history of developing and managing wide receivers, who sometimes come with baggage, Antonio Brown being the most infamous example. But each case is different, and the team's decision will depend heavily on how they weigh the potential benefits against the risks. Hill's speed, talent, and game-changing ability are undeniable, but can they outweigh the off-field concerns? That's the big question. In the recent game, Hill managed to catch 4 passes out of 6 targets, totaling 40 yards. Not a massive stat line, but enough to remind everyone of his explosiveness. If the Steelers do make the move, he could easily become a primary target, a true 1B or even 1A alongside DK Metcalf. That kind of pairing would put defenses in a bind, and it would be fascinating to see how the Steelers' offensive scheme adjusts to maximize such a dynamic duo. Now, it's important to remember that the Steelers aren't just sitting on their hands. They've shown this offseason that they're committed to making bold moves, whether it's signing Rodgers, trading for Ramsey, or trying to add more firepower to their receiving core. The question now is whether they'll pull the trigger on a trade for someone like Hill. It's a huge gamble, but one that could pay off big time if everything falls into place. On the other hand, it depends a lot on what the Dolphins are willing to accept in return, and whether Hill's off-field issues will be a barrier to any potential trade. Looking ahead, the Steelers' season is just beginning, and there's a lot to be excited about. Rodgers looks sharp, the offense is showing promise, and the defense, while it has some concerns, still has the talent to compete at a high level. The division, AFC North, is always fiercely competitive, with teams like the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns all vying for supremacy. But what could really set the Steelers apart is their willingness to take risks and make bold moves, and that includes potentially adding a player of Hill's caliber. So, Steelers fans, keep an eye on this story. The next few weeks will be crucial in determining whether a trade for Hill becomes a reality. If it does, you can bet it will shake up the entire division and set the tone for the rest of the season. Imagine the possibilities. A Steelers offense with Rodgers distributing the ball to a duo of Metcalf and Hill, both capable of turning any play into a highlight reel. That's the kind of scenario that makes every Steelers fan's heart race, knowing that the team is not just content to compete, but is aiming to dominate. And speaking of big moves, don't forget how critical the draft and offseason decisions are in shaping this team's future. The Steelers have been strategic, finding ways to bolster their roster through trades, signings, and draft picks. Each move signals their intent to build a championship-caliber team and their willingness to be aggressive in pursuit of that goal. Of course, the NFL is a league of uncertainty, and trades like this are never guaranteed until they actually happen. But the buzz is real, and the possibility of Hill donning the black and gold has fans buzzing with excitement. Whether or not they secure him, one thing is clear. The Steelers are serious about returning to their winning ways, and they're not afraid to make bold decisions to get there. This season promises to be one of the most thrilling in recent memory, with storylines unfolding day by day, and the Steelers right in the middle of it all. So, what do you think, fans? Would a trade for Tyreek Hill be the game-changer the Steelers need? Or do you think they should focus on developing what they already have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because your opinion really matters to us and to the Steelers organization. And remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, insights, and all the latest Steelers news. So stay tuned and keep that passion alive. Together, we're building a community of true Steelers believers, ready to support our team through thick and thin. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Steelers!